Greetings viewers, Eric the Car Guy here, also known as ETCG1 when I wear the hat. Welcome to the show. Here on ETCG1 we talk about stuff, we don't do repair videos, so please don't complain that this isn't a repair video. Instead, go to the description, click the Eric the Car Guy link, and go to that channel and watch repair videos. Otherwise, if you're sticking around for the conversation, welcome. And if it is your birthday, hey, happy birthday. Eric the Car Guy says happy birthday. Go out and enjoy yourself. So as you can see, my shop is somewhat in a bit of disarray, and it's not the first time it's been this way. I'll admit that it's been this way in the past, and I've got tools everywhere. I think we've all been there. You start working on stuff, start working on a lot of stuff, start having trouble. You're halfway across the shop and you realize you don't have the tool that you need, so you walk back to get the tool that you need, and you go back and you realize that you need another tool because you didn't grab the right size. And on and on and on. Or better yet, you're already wiggled your way under the vehicle and you're trying to fix whatever it is that you're trying to fix, and then you realize you don't have the right tool or you need another tool. Times like that, it's handy to have a helper, but the point is after a while, things tend to get spread out and left aside because you pick up and move on to the next thing. And not everybody works this way. I realize that. Some people are very particular about the way they work. They're very methodical about the way they work. But I think after a period of time of doing this, that kind of mentality might wear you down and you might come over to the dark side and be a little scattered like I am today. So the question and the topic of today is, how do you take care of your tools? And I think this segues into, do you lose a lot of tools? Do you find yourself being a person who loses tools? Now, granted, we talked about people borrowing tools and not returning them in the past. That's a little bit different than what I'm trying to get at here. I'm talking more along the lines of maybe you forgot something under a hood. I've got half a box full of tools that I've found under the hood of vehicles that people have forgotten about, lost, dropped, whatever. And I'm thankful to have them, because it's nice to have two of some things, and sometimes I find unique, strange, and interesting things as well. But is that a result of carelessness, or is it a result of just not having enough time to take care of things the way you'd like to take care of things? And that, I think, is the question of the day here. How do you take care of your tools? Like when you're all done from a day like this. In fact, I'm just about to do this myself. Normally what I'll do is I'll gather everything up, put it on top of the box. Before I put it away, clean it, I'll wipe it off. I'm not going to sit there and clean every little speck of dirt off the tools. It's just, in my opinion, not practical. Also, it's the end of the day, and you want to go home. You want to do something else besides fixing stuff, because at that point, personally, I'm done. I want to go and do something else. It's maker's time. I try to at least wipe things down so that the next time when I go to reach into the box, maybe I'm just grabbing something quickly, and maybe I'm in a suit and tie for whatever reason, and I need to grab a tool. At least it's kind of clean to where I don't have to worry about touching it and getting myself all dirty. And more importantly than that, it's just, in many ways, pride of ownership. And I have a certain level of that. But I draw the line. I draw the line at okay, am I being completely and totally insane with how I'm maintaining and taking care of these tools? Now, some tools, I'll admit, I love more than others. I always loved my snap-on torque wrenches since the day I got them. I don't know if it's because of the amount of money I spent on them, or the fact that they seem to represent to me that I had finally made it. I had arrived as a professional technician. I don't know what it is about those torque wrenches, but I've always had a certain place in my heart for those. Because, torque wrenches aren't something you use every day. They're something that you use on occasion. When you use them, they need to work right, they need to be there, they need to be great. So it's not like a 10 or 12 millimeter wrench, especially if you work on Hondas, that you're going to use on an almost daily basis. That's just going to become a part of your lexicon, a part of your body almost. I think I've gone off on a little bit of a tangent there. But the point I was trying to make is that I try to draw the line. I try to get to a place to where, okay, I'm being reasonable about taking care of my tools, showing a certain amount of pride of ownership, but I haven't moved the slider so far that it borders on OCD, which I think as a technician, you sort of have a little bit of that to begin with. And I think it's helpful because when you're doing a complex repair, like say an engine swap or a transmission swap, there's a lot of little tiny fasteners. There's a lot of things that you take apart. And you have to put all those things back together so that it works correctly, hopefully with no parts left over. And I think the OCD in us helps us in that line. I think it helps us develop that. I think it's part of our skill set almost as technicians or DIYers or just people that do mechanical stuff. You have to be able to put it back together and it has to work. I mean, just taking things apart just isn't enough. You have to be able to complete the task. But that being said, I consider myself sort of in the middle of the road as far as how I take care of my tools. I love my tools. I depend on them to make my living. They are an extension of my person, and I try to treat them as such. And we talked about the whole borrowing tools thing, and I've always been reluctant to lend my tools out because in a way it feels like I'm lending a piece of myself. And there's a whole other video on that, link in the description. But in this video, it's how we take care of those things that hopefully take care of us. And here's one more thing I'll throw in there, is that I try to stay organized. And being organized, I think, also goes a long way to make you more efficient at the repairs that you do. Because if you're disorganized and your tools are scattered all over the shop, kind of as they are today with me, you can have a tendency to lose track of where they are. And you get caught up in the heat of the moment, especially if you're doing this professionally and you got like a bunch of work to do, 10 waiters, and a few major repairs thrown in on top of it. Yeah, we have those days and things get scattered around. And then of course I brought up the part where somebody might borrow it or pick it up without asking. But that being said, I try to maintain a certain level of organization, particularly in my toolbox. I don't just throw things away in the box. I try to keep things organized, keep things, where I can find them so that the next time I need that tool, I know what drawer it's in. I open that drawer, I reach in, it's where it's supposed to be. I'm going to throw the conversation back to you, dear viewer. So how do you take care of your tools? What are your tools that are your pride and joy? I mean, do you have like some tool that you're just like, oh, I love this thing? Do you have days like this where you've got tools everywhere and does it sort of feel weird? Do you have to go take a nice hot shower afterwards because you don't feel right because the OCD is starting to kick in, whatever? But I'd love to hear more about it. Feel free to comment down below. There will also be a link in the description to a discussion about this over at ericthecarguy.com. And by the way, if you have automotive questions, I would ask that you head over to ericthecarguy.com. There's a welcome video there to tell you about all this wonderful stuff we have there to help you with automotive issues, should you have them. Hint, hint, if you're leaving comments below, they won't be answered. If you wish to connect with me socially, I can be found on Google+, Facebook, Twitter, and now Instagram. And I close each of my videos, including ETCG1s, with be safe, have fun, stay dirty, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.